Hello, my name is Michał Misztal and I have the pleasure to prepare and present the Perfect Pitch, which is a training course designed to startups that are to present their business idea and business model in front of the investment committee. During this presentation, I will tell you a little bit more about how to deal with stress. This is one of the most important factors because I have seen a lot of good startups that were prepared and knew what to say, and once they went to a stage and started to speak, the fear of the stage and the fear of the audience paralyzed them and disallowed them to speak and to present their idea in a good way. Then I will tell you a bit more about how to prepare yourself to reduce stress and to be a good presenter. Then we'll have to examine the elevator pitch, which is one of the most basic pitches that you will present in front of networking events, during some kind of meetings, so that you will be able to put your business into a 30-second pitch. Then we'll go through to listen to a golden circle theory, which is a theory designed to be more convenient and to prepare and to present your idea into a more convenient way. Then we'll talk a little bit more about investor expectations. We'll know how to present the business idea so it is attractive to them, and what do they desire to from the startupper, so that this group, this team, can be a good investment in their portfolio. Then we're gonna go through the structure of pitch. Investor pitch is a very complex presentation that should have a lot of information presented during 10 minutes of presentation, so that we'll go through it and we're gonna focus on the most important factors that we're gonna have in the investor pitch. Then we're gonna discuss a little bit more about your body language, about non-verbal communication that is very important in every single speeches, in every single presentation you will ever make. Then we're gonna discuss how important is the language melody, which means how not to speak flatly so that your voice is interesting and attractive to your listeners. Then we're gonna ask the most frequently asked questions, so that you will not be surprised by the questions asked you during the investment committee or demo day that you're gonna have during the program. Speaking can be learned. No one is a born speaker, believe me. I can say that I make my living thanks to public speeches, but it hasn't always been like this. During my childhood, I was rather a shy person. I never felt that I was gonna present in front of a big audience, nothing. And I was insecure. I need to say that I was quite introverted. So it was difficult for me to not only to present my ideas in front of the whole class or whole school, but also to speak my mind in private chats with my colleagues. But something happened that it started to change. My self-confidence rose because it appeared that I can play football quite well. And thanks to that, I gathered some friends, I gathered some colleagues that convinced me that I am a person with a value. I can score goals, so my hierarchy in the class raised up. You know, in childhood, a man, a boy that can score goals is worth quite much. So my self-confidence rose. During next years, I was offered conducting a presentation in front of the whole class. I was a teenager and I was frightened, I was shocked, because there was a school event that I was to conduct. I was stressed and I was shocked, but I overcame these problems and I managed to prepare a quite good event. And this is how experience with business presentations, with presentations in front of the big audience started in my life. I need to say that from that moment, I tried to use a lot of opportunities and a lot of experiences to present, to stand in front of the public, and this made me self-confident. So now, after a lot of years that I was presenting, I was giving lectures, I was giving training sessions, I need to say that I'm not stressed anymore, because speaking in front of the public is something I love very much. This is my passion. I like to do it. But it hasn't always been like this. I need to admit that the first tries, the first occasions that I took was very frightening. My body was shaking and I was not self-confident enough. But then, after years, after another examples, I made myself confident enough so that stress doesn't paralyze me. When I went to university, I started my journey and I started my work with business incubators, which is one of the biggest foundation in Poland designed to help young people to create their own businesses. I worked with investment committees. I worked with one of the biggest seed funds in Poland, so that I witnessed a lot of startup pitches, a lot of startup presentations. I helped a lot of people to prepare themselves to be a good startup during a good demo day or an investment committee. And this experience is always very helpful to declare and to help you to prepare your perfect pitch. And this is the background that I'm having, so that I'm sure I can help you with creating your pitch in a very good and convenient way. All you need to understand in that moment is that even though you are maybe not feeling very convenient and confident while speaking in public, that it can change. You can change that. Why and how? Maybe how is the best question. Thanks to practice, practice, and once again practice. I told you about my story and about my background. Why? To present that my way, my road to speaking in public without stress and without hesitation was not like this, that I was born that way. Thanks to practice, thanks to a lot of occasions I took, it appeared that I can speak, and this can be my job, this can be my passion, this can be my business. First of all, you need to learn how to deal with your stress. And I'm sure you've got your own techniques, how you can decrease the level of tension before public speaking. For sure, some of you can say that there is a level of stress that is good. And I agree, because stress can motivate you to do some action, can motivate you to be well prepared, and can make you ready for your big occasion. But there is a level of stress that can paralyze you, definitely. And there are people that are shaking, that their voice is not confident, so that they are not preparing a good presentations. This is extremely important while you are presenting your business. Why? First of all, you need to be convenient. Second of all, you need to be vivid, you need to have vitality, so that you can conduct your business, you can run your business until success. While presenting in front of investors, you need to be self-confident. You need to know what you would like to achieve and what is your way of creating business. If you are not self-confident, if you are, scared, you're not convincing them to invest their money in your business. And this is something that you would like to achieve, definitely. So what techniques do I use to deal with stress, to decrease level of stress? First of all, you need to take care of your comfort. Be at the current time, be on time, don't be afraid of being late. While you're being late, you're not making a good presentation of yourself. You're stressed because you don't have enough time to check whether your presentation is working properly. You don't have enough time to take care of water, and sometimes you can use it. You should take care of your comfort, which means you should check the surroundings before the presentation. You should be aware who are you talking to. This is about making you comfortable. Your voice should be ready, your body should be ready, and your dress should be appropriate for occasion that you are taking. Then, what is one of the most important things for me is you need to be well prepared. And how to prepare yourself, we're gonna discuss at the next slide. But being well prepared is one of the best factors that can decrease the level of stress. Once I've heard that people, statistically, are more afraid of public speaking than they're afraid of death. And what to do is how to deal with that. You need to understand what are techniques that are suitable for you. Some people can say that they're breathing deeply, and thanks to this kind of breathing, they can decrease the level of stress. Some of them are smiling towards themselves because smile gives them endorphins so that they are more self-confident. But what is most important thing for me is to accept the criticism. Accept the criticism. What do I mean? Whenever I enter a room, a classroom, or a stage, I calculate that 10, 20, maybe 30% of people have already criticized me even before I opened my mouth, even before I started to speak. Why? Because maybe I'm not dressed properly, maybe I'm not the trainer that they are expecting, maybe I should be older, maybe I should speak quieter, and they're judging me from my appearance. And once you accept that, it will be much easier for you to deal with stress. Once you start speaking, some of your audience will be disappointed because you are talking about two simple things. And for the second part, it will be too complex to understand. You will never be able to make 100% of your audience satisfied from your presentation. You need to be sure about this. And once I calculate that percentage of people that will not be interested, will be disappointed after my presentation, I know that I'm not talking to them. I'm concentrating mostly on those people that are looking at me, that are smiling, that are, nodding their head. And thanks to this, I have this connection. And I know that things I am saying, things I'm talking about, they are interesting for them. And thanks to this approach, I can decrease my level of anxiety because I know that I will not make 100% people satisfied with my presentation. And sometimes, some coaches, they say that you have to visualize your success. But I use another technique. I visualize my failure. And then I ask myself, what is the worst scenario if this presentation fails? What is the worst thing that is going to happen once I fail? And then I understand, I realize that I will still have my wife, I will still have my passions, I will still have my car, my kid, and my life. So this presentation is not the end of the world. And if I fail, this is not the end of my world. Of course, if I failed too often and my job is to speak publicly, probably I would lose my job. I will not have more clients. But if this is not your regular job, remember, this is not the end of the world. And of course, you can say that whenever you prepare for a big presentation, during demo day or during investment committee, this is your moment. You can feel that this is your moment. And you should give 100% of yourself during this presentation, and it is true. But remember, this is not your last chance. And I talked to a lot of startups, a lot of teams that were preparing themselves to present in front of investment committee, and they were sure that this is their moment. They were sure that this can change their business, this can change their life. So they were stressed. they were focused, they were they distracted themselves because of the prize that they were going after. Sometimes in sport, you can listen that this or that player were over-motivated, so he failed. And in this case, this is the same situation. You can fail because you are over-motivated. And how to how to release your head from this kind of fears? Remember that this is not your last chance. This is one of many chances that you will be given during your business activities. And very often I met people that failed during business presentations, that failed during investment committees. And after months they said, I'm very glad I failed. Because now, after several months, I worked more and I worked harder to achieve my goals, and then I got more clients, so the estimation of the value of my company got up. And now it is calculated twice that much it used to be before. So thanks to that, now I have another chance to get an investor, but now the estimation of the value of my company is much bigger than it used to be several months ago. So you need to know that this is not your moment. Of course, the moment is very important. You should concentrate, you should be focused, you should give 100% of yourself. But this is not your last chance. And having this in mind, you will be more eager to present in a good way. What else is also important while dealing with stress? You need to accept yourself. You need to be self-confident. And how to accept yourself? I know how do I look. I know my appearance. I am aware what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. I know that maybe there are people that speak better English than I do. But especially during presentations of business in not your language, be aware that you have the right to make mistakes. The most important thing is not to be grammatically correct. The most important thing is to be understood and to convince your audience that you know what you are talking about. So don't focus on your mistakes, don't focus on your disadvantages. I know that I make grammar mistakes, even now. I try to avoid them, but I'm not focusing on them in 100% because from my point of view, the most important thing is that you understand what I have to say and this is clear for you. So I understand my weaknesses, I have self-confidence because of my strengths, and this helps me to deal with stress and to understand that this is not the end of the world if anything's wrong happened during this presentation. From my point of view, if you deal with stress, if you will be able to overcome the problems with the tension, with this, paralyzing emotions, your presentation will be very good. How to prepare? I told you that, from my point of view, being well prepared is one of the most important aspects that can decrease the level of stress you need to face during presentation. Prepare presentation in advance. Don't be surprised by your slides that you are using. Don't be surprised by things you have on your Blackboard. You need to know it. You need to know the situation. You need to know the context. You need to be able to answer questions that can happen. Practice several times in front of a well-known audience. Thanks to my wife, whenever I prepare a new presentation, I ask her, please sit, listen to me, I will speak, and please correct me if anything what I'm saying is wrong or is difficult to understand. And she always gives me good advices. Wives always can be criticizing, and this kind of criticism is worth very much. What is very important? Sometimes you can have your shortcuts. You can use abbreviations that cannot be understood by all of your audience. This person can point out this kind of mistakes to you. There is a test. This test is called a grammar test. Grammar Why? Because what you need to say about your business should be understood by your grandma. And as well, it should be understood by an 8-year-old child. If they understood what you have to say, it means your communicate is good, you are understood. Remember to fit in appointed time. If you have a presentation for 5 minutes, you need to, during workshops, during tests, you need to squeeze your presentation into 4.5. Why? Because live, once you will be on stage, you can just get distracted. You can lose your point. You can just forget about some important things, and in this way, you will be losing precious time. And there are some startup events that there is a bell that will ring after 5 or 3 minutes, and you will not be given an opportunity to finish your sentences. And there is nothing worse than a good point that will not be said because you will run out of time. Prepare for questions that can be asked from your public, from the audience, and from investors, from experts, from jury. And how to prepare? Of course, you need to predict what kind of questions can be asked. And we're gonna go through the most frequently asked questions at the end of our presentation. But you need to, a good presentation sometimes can lead your audience to the point and to the questions that you would like them to ask. So sometimes you can suggest them to ask you some questions, and sometimes the good answer is is worth very much. Good practice of speeches. On the slide, you have my friend Donald, which is, of course, a very good speaker. I don't try to judge his politics, his decisions or so ever, but his public speeches are very emotional, are very good, and they're powerful. Of course, there are some gestures that he makes that are not correct, that are not welcome, and they shouldn't appear in your presentation because they are gestures of power, gestures of being very strict and very harsh. But there are some good opportunities that you can learn from his public speeches. What to say? First of all, a good public speech is vivid, is vital. You have to give 100% of your energy during this presentation. You cannot be like this, like bored by what you say. You need to stand firm, especially if you are speaking in front of camera. Firm body position with correct and powerful position is very, very important. Why? Because while we stood like this and we shake and we rock and we balance our body, first of all, I'm sure you are now losing concentration, and second of all, this doesn't look professional. So, firm body position, concentration, and this is one of the most important things. Second thing, you need to speak loudly. It doesn't mean you need to shout, like sometimes I do, but you need to speak loudly so that your voice can transmit the powerful energy. I'm not talking about, Zen energy or something, but speaking loudly very often is corresponding with self-confidence. And remember yourself while you stood up in your classroom and you need to answer to your teacher's question and you didn't know the answer. Then you spoke like this, so maybe this is this or that, and actually you have no idea. And once you know the answer, your voice was loud, your voice was self-confident, and was firm. So, especially if you would like to show your power, show your vitality, which is very important in business sector, you need to speak loudly. Second good practice is to keep an eye contact with your audience. And very often, there is a common mistake of people that, they're avoiding eye contact, they're not looking straight into the eye of their listeners, and they're not getting the feedback from the audience. And while my eyes are somewhere on the ceiling or on the walls, I'm not trying to get the feedback from my audience. And remember, whenever the audience can expect that you will look at them, they will be concentrated on what you have to say. Very often a mistake that happens is looking at your slides like this. And this slide, that slide, I'm looking behind, so I don't have this connection with my audience. And this is one of the most important things. What can be tricky with eye contact is that you should distribute your eye contact across the whole audience. Don't try to focus on 2 or 3 persons sitting in the front row, because after some minutes they cannot be feeling good with that concentration, and the rest of the group will feel omitted from your attention. So try to look at the whole audience, to swipe left, right across the whole class, so that everybody will be expecting your eye contact. It will help you to get their attention, and it will help you to get feedback. Once they are, you will know that you need to move, to speak louder, or to switch topics, or to give an anecdote or something to wake them up. This is a very important thing. The second, maybe not the second, but the next question, the next thing is to get interaction with your audience. You have to ask questions. You have to involve them into your speech. Because if you involve them, if they can feel that they can be a part of a presentation, they will ask questions, they will answer your questions, they will feel like a part of a presentation. And thanks to that, they will remember more, they will feel more involved, and the level of success of this kind of presentation will be much higher. What about questions? There are some mistakes made by presenters while they ask questions to the audience. Sometimes they ask a question that they feel that the answer is obvious. And they ask, "I'm sure all of you love apple pie, don't you?" And once some part of the audience, they say, "No, I don't like it," they feel distracted. They feel, they're losing their point. And they are trying to convince some part of the audience so that they should like apple pie. And remember that if you ask a rhetorical question, be 100% sure that your audience will ask according to your point. Don't try to persuade your audience to change their minds on some issues. If you would like to activate, to make your audience smile, you can say some anecdotes, you can tell jokes, sometimes you can laugh from yourself. I use this strategy very often because this shows that I have some, distance toward myself. So I'm perfectly okay with laughing from me, and anecdotes, jokes about the presenter are very welcome, because they make that your audience will smile, and smile audience is a satisfied audience. And this is one of the most important things. Smile, you can see this on the slide. While smile, try not to smile back to a person that is smiling to you. And smile is very often connected with this positive energy, with this energy that speaker has with his audience. Why? Because people very often forget things. And after several weeks, they will forget a lot of things that you will say and you will present, and it will just disappear from their memories. But what will they remember is the atmosphere that they had in class, whether they were invited to ask questions, whether they feel that they can ask something. This atmosphere in classroom is very, very important, and you can achieve a good atmosphere thanks to smiles. Of course, while you're presenting an analytical presentation, or you are presenting a financial situation of your company in front of the board, you shouldn't smile like an idiot and to present. These factors are fantastic. We are decreasing with our revenues, so that we are very glad to hear that. No. You need to understand that there are several types of presentations. And during analytical presentations, you should smile, but rather it should be a soft smile like this. But if you have a presentation that should present emotions, that should motivate people to do some actions, if this is a sales presentation or a presentation focused on, for example, of gathering investor, you should smile a lot. Because thanks to this, you will be able to show your positive attitude, positive energy, and you will be able to get the energy back from your audience. This is why it is very difficult for presenters to speak in front of camera, not in front of audience, because they don't get the energy of their listeners. What are the biggest mistakes in public speaking? Remind yourself about the worst presenters you ever had. Probably some of them, they were teachers from your high school or your university. Why? Because they present many times every single week. This is their job, and they cannot lose their job because they are speaking in a boring way. They will not lose their job. So they are not focusing on the quality of the form of presentation. They are focusing on the content, not on the quality and the emotional energy that they will transmit to their audience. So very often a bad public speaker, he doesn't have energy. The presentation is boring, and even him is bored with what he's trying to say. And with that energy, with the lack of vitality, the presentation will just die. So you need to avoid. How to do it? Try to be well rested before the presentation. Try to gather energy. You can drink coffee or make several squats, and this will give you some endorphins to present in a very nice way. Don't stare at walls. Don't stare at ceiling. Don't stare at the floor during presentation. Try to get the eye contact with your listeners. This is crucial. Don't rock your body. Don't speak like this, because in front of camera, this is even more distracting. But on the stage, you have your field, you have your place. You can use this place. You can walk on left and right, but don't rock your body. If you walk, rather stroll. It should be gentle. It should be peaceful, not nervous. You shouldn't walk fast on the stage, because it will also distract your audience. Don't read your slides. I'm not reading my slides now. My slides are only to present the most important ideas and key factors that I wouldn't like to forget about. So this is a tool for me, not to, read all of the things, because you can read, I can assume that. So my slides are mostly for me, not to omit any important information that I prepared for you. And don't speak in a quiet tone. Don't be afraid of speaking. Don't be sorry for the opportunity to speak. Be self-confident, speak loudly, speak gently. Don't speak like a machine gun. Your audience should have time to understand your point. So you can speak loudly, you can speak fast, as long as your audience can understand your point. There are at least 3 types of business speeches. First of all is an elevator speech. Second of all is an event pitch. And the most complex, most crucial, most difficult is investor pitch, which is presented in front of the investment committee with the biggest amount of data and information about your company. Let's go through the several types of these pitches. First of all, elevator pitch. There is a metaphor that gave the name to this kind of presentation. That imagine that you are taken up an elevator and you're going up at the highest floor of the skyscraper. In the same elevator, there is a very rich person. Maybe it can be one of the most famous investors in your company, in your country. And you have 1 minute, you have 30 seconds to get his business card. What you will say to impress him? What will you say to convince that you are an appropriate person to make a business contact with him? You have only time that your elevator will go up until the floor that he will go out. What you will say? And remember, the success, the moment of success is not once he will receive the business card from you. Because very rich investors, they have technological suits and they have, this kind of tool that will destroy your business card inside his pocket. But the success is once you will get the business card from him. What will you say about your business? And the answer is you need to give a good elevator pitch, which mostly is not presented in elevator to one person. This kind of pitch is used mostly during networking events that you have a lot of opportunities to present your business and to present you in front of a new colleagues that you will meet and you will know from this kind of opportunity, from this kind of meeting. So you will present to many people during one event the same elevator pitch. What should you tell? What should you say? The most important thing is to be remembered. Why? Because probably your listener will have an opportunity to listen to several, maybe 15, maybe 20 elevator pitches from different people during the same event. What you will do to be remembered? What you will say? First of all, you need to catch the attention of your listeners. You need to, you need to give a bite to catch the attention, to be different from other presenters. What should you say? There are some strategies and some techniques that can help you with that. First strategy says that you should use some statistical data to present the information about your business. Some of you can say 8 out of 9 people from this classroom will have problems with their lungs because they are breathing polluted air. Yes? You can use different statistics. 27% of teenagers, they are overweight because they don't eat proper food. You can use different statistics, you can use different backgrounds, you can use different information, but it should be interesting, it should be something new to your listeners. Of course, it should be true as well, and it should attract their attention. You can use a different strategy. You can use their emotions. You can use their emotions, and you can use it to be remembered. How? Sometimes I've heard startuppers that started their speeches with an F word. Yes, they swear because they stand out thanks to this. I don't like it. This is not my style. I wouldn't recommend it to you, but I still remember several pitches that are made with this F word at the very beginning. Sometimes you can say about your childhood, about your dreams, about your visions. And this is also very, very important to give some information about you on this kind of pitches. Remember that you don't have a lot of time, so you need to be complex and still very convincing. During this kind of events, you can use some anecdotes, you can use some storytelling techniques, so that you will catch the attention of your listeners at the very beginning. I still remember the elevator pitch presented by a group of students of biology, that they started their startup pitch like this. Imagine the situation that you are you're riding a bus with your child. You love her very much. She's young, she's innocent. She grabs the bus, and after 1 week, unfortunately, she is dead. Why? Because of the viruses and the bacteria that destroyed the organism of this young girl that have created this strategy. And this is why they invented a spray that kills 99% of bacteria so that your child would still be here. Of course, I don't know whether this is nice or not, because it depends on your level of sensitivity. But I still remember this presentation after several years. So you need to find out, you need to make up some story, some kind of statistics that are connecting with your business that can be used at the very beginning so that you will be remembered and your audience will know that this presentation was about you. And then, what kind of questions you should answer in this elevator pitch? First of all, what you do. What you do, but try not to put it in a very difficult words, in very complex sentences. Try to be precise, because once you present and once you define your business idea, your business activities, it will be easier to find partners thanks to that. Try not to say in different ways several times the same things. Try to be precise and clear. For whom? It means, who is your target group? Who is a beneficiary of your products, of your services? It means that you have specified the target group. What is better in your approach comparing to your competitors? Are you faster? Are you cheaper? Are you better? Maybe the quality of your products is higher? I don't know, but you should specify this during presentation. And what is the need? If you ask me, what is the most common factor that brings startups to failure, is lack of need. Lack of need, because startups, they want to create something very complex and innovative and modern, but they are not focusing on the need of the direct and specified group of people. And if you don't know the need, if you haven't clarified the need with your target group, your startup definitely will fail. So try to answer this question during your elevator pitch. If you approach to this in this way, I'm sure that your presentation will be understood, will be interesting, and it will stay in the minds of your listeners for a long, long time. So what I would like you to do now is to take a piece of paper and to write down the perfect elevator pitch you would like to present. Start with an anecdote, statistical data, to confront and to confirm your business idea, to confirm that there is a market, that there is a need, to confirm that there is a problem that exists. Then say a little bit more about your solution, about for whom you deliver the product, and about your competitive advantages. Try to present it in a 30 or 40-second way, and then record yourself, listen to yourself, ask yourself a question, Am I understood? Am I speaking correct? Am I interesting? Am I convincing? Because what is the point of elevator pitch? The most important point is to get clients, is to get partners, is to get mentors, is to sell the idea of your company. Maybe thanks to a good elevator pitch, you can find a co-founder, you can find a volunteer, you can find a worker, employee. A good elevator pitch is the shortest commercial of your company. Can you do it properly? I'm sure you can. Take a piece of paper, write down the most important aspects, then read it, then try to remember, and then record yourself with a camera. And then you will be able to examine and to answer the question, are you good with elevator pitch? How you can improve your elevator pitch? One of the most important and interesting as well is Golden Circle theory. This theory was created by Simon Sinek, and it says that people, they don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. They buy reasons, they buy actions, they buy emotions, not the analytical reasons and not the analytical information about product or the quality of your services. They buy why you do it. They buy your reasons, your emotions, your background, and your story. And try now to correct your pitch using this kind of strategy. People very often says, what do they do? I am running this and that kind of company. Sometimes they say, how do they do it? They say, I do it this way or that way. And very rarely they say, what are their motivations? What are their reasons to deal with this kind of business, not any others? If your reasons are interesting, please tell about this to your audience. Tell your story, tell your background, your experience, why this kind of exercises, this kind of business is what became your everyday activity. And I can tell you my story. Very long time ago, I worked for business incubators, and my elevator pitch was created in the way that I presented the biggest benefits from joining our foundation. And this kind of connection was quite difficult to understood. So I tried to explain and to say a little bit more about the benefits and so on and so on. And actually, nobody was very interested in this kind of presenting. And then I come across the Golden Circle theory, and I decided to switch my pitch in a different way. Then I decided to concentrate mostly not on the features of the product or on the service, but to concentrate mostly on my reasons. And I started to say that I work for one of the biggest foundations in Poland that deals with young entrepreneurial people. Thanks to our help, we believe that we can make their dreams come true because they dream about successful companies. They dream about being an entrepreneur. They dream about joining their passions and their business life. And thanks to that, we can help them to achieve their goals so that we decrease the risk of failure, and we increase the chances of success. And thanks to this switch of presentation, I won some kind of competition during networking event I'm gonna tell you about. Why this was much more convincing? Because who will not agree with me that young people deserve their chance, deserves to fulfill their dreams. They deserve to have their own businesses and to be committed entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. Who would disagree with me? Nobody, probably nobody. So, using this kind of big words, I presented my motivations because I believe that every single young people deserve their chance, deserve success. These are my motivations. This is why I do it. And there was a networking event that first I presented my elevator pitch in this way. And there was a contest, and I won more than half votes. More than half people that attended this kind of meeting voted for me. Why? Because they agreed that young people deserve their chance. They deserve success. They should achieve something in their life. And who won the second spot? There was a lady that was selling pots. Why? Why she won the second prize? Because she used the same technique. She used the same technique. She told nothing about the pots. She told nothing about the material, the condition, the quality. She told her story. And she started like this. This is not my story, so I will not be very persuasive. But she said something like this. I worked for a big company for years in marketing department. I wanted to be promoted, but once again, my boss omitted me with promotions. And I was so frustrated that I decided to quit my job. I had no other options. I didn't have any background so that I can live for the money I gathered for years. I needed to find something else very quickly. And then I asked myself, what is very important for me? First of all, my family. Second of all, I love cooking. And third of all, is spending time with my friends. And then, by accident, I came across with the pots from company X. And it appeared that cooking can be easy. I can cook very good meals to my family. I can spend more time with them. And from that moment, I started to drive across whole Poland and to say and to tell people about these pots because they changed my life. She said the story like this, and believe me that there were many people interested in buying these pots after the meeting. Why? She said nothing about parameters, nothing about the features of these pots. She only said her story. And she was very convincing with that. So try now to improve your business pitch, to improve your elevator pitch with this theory. Remember, if you would like to persuade people to do something, you need to address to the emotional part of their brain. We, as rational animals, we would like to think about ourselves that our decisions, that our purchases are made after, very good recognition of situation, analytical, after analyze, once you compare the prices and compare your features, nothing like this. We buy things, and we buy people, and we buy ideas with our emotions. If you would like to sell some idea, sell the vision of your company, sell products, you need to address the emotional part of people's brain. If you achieve to do it, you will be successful. Next part is connected with non-verbal communication. American scientists calculated that more than 70% of communication that people have in front of them, between them, is based on non-verbal types of communication. It means voice and words that I'm now speaking, but they're not as important as the body language we are now using. And of course, this is very difficult to compose your presentation both with structure, with content, with interesting stories, and combining it with body language that is adequate to the situation, to your presentation, and that can emphasize your your speech. But it is very important. Remember situations that presentation, the context and the body language were not corresponding. Imagine a situation like this: you are walking to a shop, unfortunately your new iPad is broken and you would like to get a new one, and you are complaining about the product, and you told your sad story that you have just bought a new iPhone and now it's broken, and now you're angry, and now you're stressed, and now you want to have your new iPhone back. And the person you are talking to from the shop assistant, she's like this: I'm very sorry to hear that your iPhone is broken. We will do all that we can to help you and to make this situation and to change it. We have a very strong sense of clients' satisfaction, so that we would like to help you and change the product as quickly as possible. Please accept my apology for the fact that the iPhone is broken. You don't believe this person. You don't believe this person because what she said is not corresponding to her body language. Body language is a powerful item, is a powerful way of emphasizing your communication. Of course, there are a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration using body language. But first of all, it should not be very heavy, it should not be very intense. Sometimes there are some courses that says that once you would like to look as an expert, you need to do like this, a pyramid. And very often people after courses from public speaking, they say like this: they're hiding their mouth behind the pyramid so that they are now experts, a very big expert. But this is not good. Why? Because it's considered that once you hide your mouth, you are not speaking honestly. So your mouth should be visible. You shouldn't hide your mouth. Once you are not speaking correctly during this time, and it's more difficult to listen to you. And the second thing is that your body language says that you have something to hide. Nonverbal communication is very, very important. But how to make this as a useful tool, not as our enemy? What kind of gestures can we use to support our speeches? First of all is an opening gestures, is the welcome gesture. Is doing like this: welcome everybody, I'm very glad that you are here and I would like to say something more about blah 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 blah. Welcome gesture is very important. But what is tricky with that gesture? You need to be aware that line of hands is higher than your elbow. Why? Because this is how you do the welcome gesture, and this is how you do I don't know gesture. I don't know. Welcome everybody. I am very glad you are here. Welcome. No, welcome. Hands should be higher than your elbow. And you can remember very warm greetings, people doing like this: welcome everybody. Of course, it would be strange if you do this during investment committee or a demo day. Like, welcome everybody, I'm here and you will listen to me now. No. Rather, welcome like this. What else can be important? Which kind of gestures can improve our communication? I told you about the pyramid. Pyramid is a gesture from experts. But sometimes if you do too much like this, like your fingers are glued to themselves, this is not good. Who is an expert with these gestures? Who is using this gesture very often? Angela Merkel, yes. She's like speaking like this all the time because she knows everything about everything. And she is an absolute expert in the universe. So she knows everything. But there was a Polish politician, I will not say his name, but he said like this. And it was not a good gesture. You can emphasize something with that. Remember about one thing. You need to concentrate about one thing. And this is very important in my presentation. Please remember that this gesture with your hand. You can say that something is very close to your heart. This is very important to me. And you people, all of you that sits and stands here, you are very close to my heart. Of course, you can use the same gesture with your head. I have thought about this a long, long time. And now I know everything about that. Of course, now I'm overusing the gestures because I'm trying to point out almost every single sentence I make. Look, this is very important. But how you can say that something was small and now it's bigger? It enhanced. It grew up. Our perspectives and projections about the future were quite pessimistic. But now our chances to succeed are much bigger. How you can show the level of something that gone up? The level has gone up. 2 years ago, we had the revenues at the level of 1,000 zloty a month. But now we have 2,000 zloty and we are very proud of that success. Of you people, because you helped us with achieving the success. How to say that something is very important for me? This is very important for me. And thanks to you, we achieved this kind of success. This kind of success. We can show the time, that time passes by. But what is tricky? If you stand in front of your audience, remember that your right hand is their left hand. And their left hand is their right hand. So, if you would like to show that something changed in time, remember that your right hand is your left hand. And past is very often presented on the left side. So, past, present, future. 2 years ago, we were a small company. Now, we grew up and now we are quite stable. And in the future, we're gonna be one of the biggest company in the world. Past, present, and the future. If you would like to show the progress, you can show like this. Past here, present here, and the future over there. In this way, you can show progress. If you would like to show process, you can show like this. We are in the difficult times that we need to change several processes in our company. But don't be afraid, we're gonna do all that is possible to preserve your jobs. And so on and so on. You can show that you know exactly how much you will need. How much you will need. And what is tricky? Several months ago, there was a Polish Prime Minister that showed some negative figure that he wanted to say that this is not a very frightening figure, this is not a very bad statistic. And he said like this, only 8% of something, only 8%. He said only 8%, but his body language was like only 8%. And it was shown after that in television that his body language doesn't correspond with the content he is trying to present to his audience. Only 8% or only 8%. Look how body language can be important in your communication. What else is also important according to your hands? You can show that something is very good. We have very good figures, very good parameters. Thanks to that, we decreased the level of anxiety among our customers, and they are very close to our heart. But not only hands can improve your communication. You can use your fingers. 1, 2, 3. First thing is that. Second thing is that. Third thing is that. Enumerations. You can show another points that you would like to point out. What else is quite important? Your position. As I said before, you cannot stand like this. I'm very open to your suggestions. I'm very open to your questions. Please tell me about this. And even though you're saying like this, your body position says, no, I'm not interested in your ideas. If you are open, be open. So remember that body language can be very important. What gestures should you avoid? If you have something like this, a pointer or a pencil, remember not to play around with this tool, because you can show that you are a little bit stressed. You're stressed. Don't look like this. Don't stand with your feet crossed. Very often people, once they start presentation, they stand like this. They're crossing their feet, their legs, and it shows that they are insecure. They want to, protect their body. They're not feeling well during presentation, and this is one of the biggest mistakes they can make. If you would like to stress something out, if you would like to present something that is very important, don't have your eyes almost shut down, almost closed. If you are talking about something very interesting, you cannot have your eyes closed. Rather, on the opposite side. If you would like to stress something out, open very widely your eyes. And remember, this is very important. Very important thing. Your mimics, your face expression can be also very, very important. And your listeners will read your face. And if you are bored with what you want to say, they will see and they will know about this. You need to be vivid, you need to be lively, you need to be vital, and your body expression, your face expression should also emphasize that. Don't put your hands inside your pockets. It's rude. I know that sometimes it can be, it can be convenient, but all of these gestures are quite rude, and I don't recommend you to use it. What other gestures you should avoid? Scratching, like this, or like this, or constantly, constant moves like this. It will not help you. Try to eliminate all unnecessary moves. I know it can be difficult, as this is difficult to control your body during presentation. Why? Because mostly we are focused on what we need to say, and at the next step we are thinking about gestures, about body language, about what do we present. But if you practice a lot, you will learn how to combine all of these informations. What intensity we should use during our presentations? There is nothing like the only correct level of intensity of our body gestures. First of all, it should reflect our nature, it should reflect our level of extrovertism, yes? Because there are people that if they speak calmly, you wouldn't expect them to use a lot of body language. But sometimes there are people so intense during speeches, they don't control their body, and they move their head, they move their hand, they move their bodies, and they are distracting the audience, so that they should concentrate rather on being more limited, on being more complex, on being more calm during presentation. But as well, there are different types of presentation. First type is the analytical data, is the presentation that you should present your knowledge or the figures, and in this way, gestures would be rather limited. While being an expressive presentation, while you want to empower people to do something, to influence them somehow, if you want to motivate them to take some actions, to buy something, to go somewhere, to listen to you, to join a community, to act, you need to be much more intense with your body language. Look at politicians. They are very good at this. They're trying to convince people to vote for them. So they emphasize what they say, they have good points, they have good body language, but sometimes, if they want to present in front of a smaller community, they're rather analytical, they will decrease the intensity of body language. Precision or emotions. There are two types of gestures. First type is the good way of emphasizing your emotions. These gestures would be rather not closed in the air. They would be like more vivid, more flexible. They're emotional gestures. And they're good to present every single persuasive presentation, sell presentation. But there are second type of gestures, precise gestures, that they are closed in the air, closed in the space. They are limited, and they are rather like this. We know exactly how much we need to spend to achieve the level of success. They're not flexible. They're not, they're not floating in the air. They are just put here or here, and you know exactly how much you need. Imagine a situation when you mix all together. Once you want to present that you know exactly how much money you need to invest in this kind of business to achieve your business goals. You need to invest 100,000 zloty so that you will bring to your customers very good quality and fantastic provisions to your investment committee. Because you made the gestures like this, you doesn't sound like you are 100% sure, because you have calculated the values properly using the best techniques, using good calculators, and thanks to that you can be 100% sure that the level you will achieve thanks to this amount of money. How much money you want from investors? This much. How much money you will bring to investors? This much. And not this much. Like this. Because you have calculated that and you are 100% sure, you are firm, and you know, because you have calculated and your calculations are based on good pillars, good foundations. So there are different types of gestures. Once you want to present emotions, and once you want to present precision, knowledge, data. What else is crucial during the presentation? Language melody. Once you listen to music, you can listen to different accords, you can listen to different speed of music, you can listen to different tones. But once you listen to people, very often they speak flatly, and their speech is still in the same pace, in the same tone, and the melody of language is boring. And after several hours or even several minutes of listening to this kind of presentation, you are bored and you are losing your focus, because the presentation is not vivid, because the language is flat and the melody is nowhere near to be heard. And if you want to avoid your audience to fall asleep during your presentation, try to speak in a different way. Imagine or remind yourself an Italian or a Spanish friend. How do they speak? They speak like this. They speak up and down, up and down, up and down, faster, slowly. They are speaking like a melody. They are speaking like they sing. And this is why a good Italiano friend is very, very vivid once he speaks. And the same situation is once you listen to a Spanish friend. Here in Poland, people very often speak flatly, and this is the best way to bore to death your audience. Avoid that. Remember, your voice should be like a melody. Louder, quieter, faster, or slower. Sometimes you can make a pause to emphasize something. You should be aware that the language melody will help you not to be forgotten, and it will help your audience to keep focus on what you want to say. After this part, we have discussed elevator pitch, we have discussed things, how we can deal with stress during presentation. We discussed also the golden circle theory, I hope you remember that, and the body language. Of course, what is very important is the fact that you need to practice, and once again practice, so that all of these gestures, all of these techniques will be your natural behavior. And now let's maybe focus a little bit more on the content of what you need to present during business presentations, during demo days or investment committee. But before we can reach to that point, we should understand what are the most important goals, what are the most important problems of your potential investor. What is he interested in? First of all, who is an investor, a business angel? Business angel and an investor is a very wealthy person that earned a lot of money, and now he would like to use these funds to help young people to create their own startups. But they're not doing that just because they have money, so that they want to help. This is their business activity. Unfortunately, investment on the startup level, on this seed level, very often startup fails. So that investor expects that 1 or 2 out of 10 companies that he will invest in will bring profits. It means 7, 8, maybe even 9 of them will fail and will only be a loss of money. So what is the conclusion from that point? It means that this one startup should earn so much money to investor that it will cover all of the losses made on the misinvestments in different companies. It means that investor expects that you will grow with your company more than several times per year, so that after 2 or 3 years, he will be able to sell shares in your company with huge profit, at least with a factor times 10. Because thanks to this factor, thanks to this multiplier, he will be able to cover all of the losses he will produce with misinvestments with other startups. The good idea is, of course, very important to investor, but a good team is even more crucial. Why? Because in the startup world, our ideas, they pivot. They pivot, so it means they changes the business model in a strong and in a important way. So once ideas, they change, people, very often they don't change. And it means that for investor, a good team is much more important than a good idea. Of course, idea itself is also very important. It should be scalable, it should be profitable, and it should be repeatable, so that investor can rely on the figures, rely that the company will grow, and after several years, he will be able to share shares with profits. A solid team behind the project, not only the leader. Why not only the leader? Because if the company is based only on the leader, there is a huge risk. Running a business, and if you run a business for sure, you know that, is not a simple thing. It's a very difficult, tiring activity that creates a lot of stress, And sometimes people, they just resign. They have enough. They say, I need to change. I need to switch the business. I need to, I don't know, find another job because I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted that I have enough. And as I told you before, I worked for a big seed fund that we invested in more than 100 startups. And there was a startup that was run by only one person, and this person was hit by a car and accidentally he died on the road. And of course, this was a tragedy for the family and for all of us. But looking for a rough and brutal business point of view, after this tragedy, the business collapsed. So all of this money that we invested was for nothing. So this is why investors expect a strong teams with a strong leader, because if something happens to a leader, there will be a team that will bring the project to a success, that can substitute him if something's happened. And you know, investment in startups is a long-term project. It can last for 2, 3, or 5 years, and a lot of unexpected can happen during this time. We can be hit by a car, we can get sick, we can have another problems, or we can just have enough. Mental breakdowns in business, maybe it's not normal, but it happens. So if we have a strong team behind a strong leader, we can persuade investor to give his money to the startup. You need to know exactly, you need to calculate very well how much money you would like to get and how you will spend it. A clear and transparent needs of finances is very important at the very beginning of the process. Why? As you can show to an investor that you have already walked through all of these necessities that are in front of your business, and you decided which are of the highest priority, and you calculated how much money you need to achieve which milestone that are in front of you. If you know how much money you need, then you should calculate somehow how much money you will be able to earn, what can be your profits and revenues. But of course, be aware that all of these calculations and estimations cannot be very precise, because time will show and only future will present the direct and correct statistical information about your revenues. As I said before, investor is expecting a huge return of investment in the time. Why? Because of the shape of the process, he will lose a lot of money on missed investments. So he expects at least this multiplier times 10, and in the period of 2 or 3 years. And if the company doesn't have the prospects of growth so heavily and so rapidly, the investor will not be interested in giving money to this kind of project. The scale of investment should also be big enough. Why? Because imagine a very rich and important person. This person values his time very much. So if he's about to invest not only his money but also his time to a startup team, he should know that the vision of the startup team is broad, that perspectives are good, and the scale of investment is big enough. Imagine that you can promise to your investor that you will give him the return of investment times 10, but you need only 5,000 zloty. Okay, maybe it's good, it's a good money, but if he calculates the time that he will have to spend with you, after 2 or 3 years, 45,000 zloty in return, maybe is not good enough. A clear and defined moment of exit. Why? Because normally investor is interested in exit from your company. How can it happen? Most statistically, exits are made by, unfortunately, bankruptcy of the company. But this is, of course, a scenario that you will rather not present to your investor. He will not be satisfied with this kind of prospects. The second way is that you will buy shares from the investor, but don't believe in that. Don't say like this, because if we say that we'll get back our shares from investor, he will ask you a question. So now you would like to sell me 10% of your company in return for 1 million euro, yes? Yes. And after 2 years, I would like to get at least 5 or 6 million euros, maybe even 10 out of this 1 million. How you will be able to afford for this kind of money? Probably you will not be able to afford. Why? Because investor expects that you will reinvest the money that you will earn and not put in your pocket, yes? So that after several years you will be rich enough to rebuy the shares that you had already sold to the investor earlier. Because you should invest and reinvest the money so that the company's value can grow. Why? Because investor, his biggest interest and biggest goal is to grow and to expand the value of the company. Why? Because after several years, once he sells it, he will be able to get back a lot of money and to recover losses from another misinvestment. So the best way is to present who will be a potential buyer of the shares from this investor. Who can it be? It can be a bigger seed fund, maybe it can be a VC fund, maybe it can be a strategic investor. If, for instance, I'm a fintech and I'm creating a solution for banks, and if I were about to find an investor, I would say that, hello, this is my company, I would like to sell 10% in exchange for 1 million, and the good exit strategy can appear in 2 or 3 years because this and that bank had already created some kind of transactions like this, that they bought interesting startups from the market. And the evaluation of the company showed that the multiplier can be times 8, times 10, or maybe times 15. Why? Because the past experience from this and that bank showed that they are interested in acquiring a good startups from market. I can be a startup like this, and this can be a good strategy exit for you. So this is how, and this is why investors expect that you will predict both time and the value that they can achieve from exit from your company. And once again, about the business model. It should be scalable, repeatable, and it should be profitable. I'm sure that you can understand what does it mean to have a repeatable business model. It's not based on an accident. It is structured, it has processes, it is going well. Profitable? Profits are bigger than costs. Revenues are bigger than costs, which means you can earn money. And scalable, which means you can grow rapidly without limits. There are some types of businesses that are not very scalable. These are, for instance, restaurants, for instance, schools. They are not scalable. Why? Because once you want to earn twice that much, you need to invest twice that much money. And comparing that to startups, to mobile apps, to web platforms, once you invest once, you can extend the number of clients without limits. Look at Dropbox, look at Uber, look at Airbnb. In their business models, the resources that they have, they don't belong to them. So they created a platform, they created a mobile app that will allow to communicate among a lot of users, among suppliers, and among clients, so that they can meet together, and thanks to one platform, you can do one trade, 10 trades, or 10,000 trades without huge growth of costs. And it means business is scalable. That you can scale your profits, scale your revenues, not scaling up with your costs. Now, let's concentrate on the structure of presentation. Of course, there is nothing like the one proper structure of presentation. There is nothing like the only good solution. But in a good presentation, all of the things that I will mention in a few minutes should appear. Where should we start? Of course, we should start with introduction. There is the same rule that exists in elevator pitch and in investor pitch. You should start with an anecdote, with a statistics, with a data that can be interesting, can be intriguing, it can be, some kind of horrifying. You can scare your audience. You should play at their emotions. You should be remembered. Why? Because during this demo day, during this investment committee, probably you'll be one of 8, 10, 15 startups that will present themselves. What you will do to be remembered? What you will say so that you will not be one of the rest, that only your presentation will be remembered? What you would say? This is not a simple question. I cannot understand it, definitely. But a good anecdote, your story, you can use some storytelling techniques, you can use golden circle theory, yeah? And thanks to that, your presentation will start from a very interesting point. But for sure, you should start with, hello everybody, I am Michał and I am about to tell you about something very important to me. Good energy, positive attitude, smile, eyes open widely, and with that moment, with that start, you will impress your audience. What else? Then you should express the problem. The first thing you need to determine at the beginning of your presentation is the problem. Not your problem with your life, but the problem you would like to address your solution to. The problem that you observed in the society, the problem that you have measured or someone have measured it before you. Problem that you can somehow determine and declare who is having this kind of problem. Why? Because most startups fails because they are answering the problem that never exists. 1,000 mobile apps that do nothing significant and that answers no question, no problem, no idea, but they only do something nice, something interesting, not enough to be a sufficient and suitable business model. So that problem, maybe you have some experience in that field. Maybe in the past you ran a company dealing with similar problems, and then while being close to your client, you have observed their need, you have witnessed their problems, and you know how to answer to that problem. What is very important is that you need to not emphasize, but you need to declare and to support your thesis with data. How you can support it? With scientific information, with created reports from an objective source. And once you present a report, 99% of Polish people will have problems like this and that. And this is a report created by the Ministry of Health of Polish government. Yes? Or according to the report of Political Journey and something, 18% of Polish companies will have problems with debts in the near future. This is why we have developed a solution, blah, blah, blah. The problem should be clear and should be understandable. Of course, this is not your problem or the problem of your listeners. And remember, this is also very important. Your audience doesn't always have to be your target group, which means Once you will present your business idea in front of them and you will declare and define the problem of your target group, if they say, I don't buy it, this is not my problem. Remember, this should be a problem of your target group, of your specified group of possible buyers, of clients, not to every single group of users, of people that can sit in front of you during the presentation. It should be a problem directly determined to this or that group of society. It doesn't have to be your problem, because very often people lie to themselves like this. I am a young mother and I understand the problems of every single young mother at the universe. No. Being a young mother doesn't give you the right and doesn't give you the knowledge about every single mother in the universe. Only because you are a group you are your own target group doesn't give you the knowledge about the rest of the group. You should rather base on statistics, on information presented in objective reports. So you should clarify the problem, that you understand it, you have witnessed it, and you understand which kind of solution you can provide. Solution is not the product. Solution is rather the value proposition that you can offer to your customers. Product and the features of the product you will present at the next slide. Maybe there is one important thing I should add. The order of the slides is not, there is not a correct order of the slides. Rather, there is a structure that should start from problem, then solution, then market, and so on, and you should finish with your team and your vision. But what is inside very often is mixed. But going back to the topic, once you answer a question about your problem, then you should answer about your solution. But remember, solution is not your product. Solution is the benefit that goes through, that is given by your product, your services. This is the value proposition. If you go back to the business model canvas, in the heart of the business model, there is a value proposition. And this is the slide about your solution. How do you solve the problem of your potential buyers? How good you are with this? What is innovative in your approach? Remember that there are several types of innovation. First of all, technological innovation. This is an innovation that gives us better cars, more effective smartphones, and this is the technology that allows us to go to Mars with our spacecrafts. But there are different types of innovation. Innovation of process. This is the innovation that creates a new way of delivering a well-known value to the customer. There is another type of innovation, innovation of business model. Look at Uber, look at Airbnb. The technology that they use, of course, it is complex, but this is not a very innovative technology. Uber uses GPS, which is well known for years. But the new way of approaching the business model, a new way of approaching resources, this is what is unique and innovative in this idea. So, innovation in business model, this is the type of innovation that changes the way that we approach the problem that is well known for years. And this is how you can answer to the question, I am innovative in this and that, and this is unique. What else you should give at the slide about solution? Define the value proposition, which means what is unique in your solution? What is unique? Are you new? Here we can correspond to commercials, to advertisements. I love advertisement very much, and I like to watch it. I think we can inspire us. They can inspire us a lot. And what else? We can learn a lot of tricks from commercials. And look, there are some types of products that are advertised because they are new. For instance, new formula of washing powder, new formula of toothpaste. And thanks to this new innovative technological super bubbles, our teeth will be cleaner than ever. Or thanks to this intelligent molecules, our clothes will be clean as it used to be before. So some products can be promoted. The value of this product can be that they are new. But look, not every single good can be promoted thanks to the feature of being new. Imagine, would you buy a new formula of bread, of new formula of meat, new formula of food? No. Food should be traditional. Traditional cuisine, traditional meat, traditional beer, traditional bread. Bread should be traditional. Toothpaste should be innovative and technologically advanced. Efficient. We can promote our products because they're efficient. What does it mean, efficient? Efficient means that they do what they are designed to do. They do what they are designed to do. We have a commercial in Poland that a lady, she can clean all of the dishes thanks to only one drop of liquid, of this, cleaning liquid, and every single plate in the universe can be washed thanks to one drop of this liquid. This is efficient. Effectiveness. What does it mean that something is effective? Effective is, for instance, a university that can promote themselves that 99.9% of graduates, they are hired in 2 months after finishing university. Yes? This is the effectiveness of teaching. We can teach you so good that the ratio of success is almost 100%. The level of success for almost 100%, you will find your job after our school. What else you can offer? What else you can implement during this presentation? Design. Remember, how many times have you bought clothes or boots or shoes that were not maybe very convenient, but they looked very nice? Design. We pay for design. We pay for things that are nice, that look nice, that look in a good way. And design does not only, it don't has to be limited only to products like cars or art or, I don't know, IT tools. Design can be spread among all of the things that are around you. People implement elements of design to even funeral business. The way how the graveyard is constructed, the way how the tombstone is projected, designed, is also very important. Design, we pay for things that are maybe not as convenient, but they look nice. So think whether one of the features that you can offer to your customers is not a design. Maybe it should be, because even a bottle of water, the bottle can have a lot of shapes, and this premium water will have at least it has as well a premium design of the bottle. So imagine your business wrap up in the very nice design. People are eager to pay more for things that are pretty. Customization. Are you able to offer a customized services to your clients? If yes, this is a good answer. Because if something is customized, it means it reflects the need of the particular client. It reflects the need of a particular client. So customization, for sure, is the enemy of scalability of the company, which means you cannot scale very fast if your products are customized, unless you have found a technological solution that will allow you to do it. A very good way of customizing on a mass scale, of customization of the mass scale, is a trick made by a Coca-Cola. Several years ago, on the bottles and on the cans of Coca-Cola, there were surnames or the nicknames or the names like Michał, like Bunny, like Honey, like many names. And I need to admit that several times I bought a can of Coca-Cola even though I didn't want to drink it, because it had my nickname or a nickname of my wife or a nickname of my friend, so I gave it to them just because. So this was a customization on a massive scale, and it enhanced and improved the sales of this company. If you can offer to your client something customized, of course, it will be more expensive than the regular products. But remember, customization is the enemy of scalability of the company. What else? Brands. People are eager to pay for brands. Why? Because thanks to brands, we can show that we belong to a group, that we are attracted by the values that are very close to the DNA of the brand. Imagine Apple. Apple is just another company that creates cell phones and electronic items. So why it is so successful and powerful? Because they were able to create a brand that transmits value, that transmits value of design, value of user experience, of simplicity. And these values are bound with DNA of the brand. Look at Porsche. This is a regular car? Maybe yes, but it is connected with emotions, with success in your life, with money, with sport, with adrenaline. So if you would like to drive Porsche, probably you would like to say to your community, say to the audience, say to your neighbors, I'm successful, I like adrenaline, I'm attractive to another sex because I drive Porsche and I'm somebody thanks to that. Brands can transmit value. Look at Red Bull. Red Bull, the most powerful drink on the earth, because it will gives you wings so you can fly. Red Bull, associations with the brand is very simple. And look, in regular shop, you can buy an energetic drink in Poland for 2 zloty. And Red Bull, you have to pay at least 5 or 6 zloty per can. And what are the costs of production? These are the same. Why? Because in this one and in that one, the ingredients and the costs are completely the same. But here, you've got only a product, and here, in Red Bull, you've got a brand. You've got a promise of something more than only a product. So if you are able to create a brand that connects somehow with some associations, with some visions, and you are able to transmit this value to your customers, you are able to be successful, and you can create this in the pitch deck as a solution of your product. Security, fun, different values that you can give. Security, once you buy an insurance, once you buy a helmet to avoid some crashes, this is because you pay for security. Fun, a lot of people pay for computer games, they pay for some kind of tools, some kind of items, just because it brings them fun. Yes? And people are eager to pay for having fun. So this is also a good value that you can present inside your startup pitch. What else? After we present the problem, after we present the solution, Then we can present the product. But please don't concentrate too much on the features. Don't present the numbers of tools and of possibilities and of abilities of functions. It is not so crucial. Of course, for your final user, maybe it is. But for investor, the most important thing is benefits that are going through thanks to your product. People very often, during this kind of presentation, they focus mostly on the features of the product because they love it. They designed it. They created it. This is their baby. But don't concentrate too much on the product, on the service and characteristics. Put only the most important figures. Put information about the stage of development, which means there are several levels of technological readiness. You can put where are you at this statistics. You can say I have this and that, but still I don't have this and another options. It is very important as you present how much have you achieved by that moment, but by that time. Of course, you can present photo or visualization of your product, but please don't concentrate too much on this slide. You are here, you are there to present a business idea, not a product. This is not a sale presentation. This is presentation about the whole model, about customers, about market, about competition, about the problem, and so on and so on. This is not a sale presentation. You are not there to sell a product, you are there to sell a business. So it means you need to show a bigger picture. Another bigger picture that you should implement in your structure is knowledge about your competition. And don't say that you don't have any competition. This is a lie. This is a lie. Because if you don't have a direct competitors, for sure you will have another companies, another ways how to fill the need with another way, with substitutes of your product. It means that if you are creating a Volvo, yeah, your competitor is Opel, is Ford, and it's, I don't know, Fiat, but the goods that can substitute the same, this product and filling the same need is a public transport, is bicycle, is plane, yeah, is train, which means there are a lot of substitutions that can replace your product from the habits of your potential customers. So don't concentrate only on competitors, concentrate also on substitutes. Very often, the slide about competitors is presented in some kind of a matrix. On the one side, you present the names of company X, Y, Z, and our company. And on the other side, you present features. Feature A, feature B, feature C. And the first company has this, but it doesn't have that. The second company, they don't have this, they don't have that, and they don't have all of this. But your company have all of these features because your company is the best one. And you use this slide not only to show that you know about your competitions, but also to present that you're better than them. Don't forget about the biggest competitors. And don't try to say that you don't have competitors. For sure you have. And if you say you don't have, it means that either you are trying to lie to your investor, or, which is maybe even worse, you haven't made a good recognition of the situation. Market. Another thing that you have to present is the market that you would like to operate on. First of all, who is your target group? Who is your target group? Remember, there are no products for everybody. This is another lie that is very often presented. My product is for everybody. Whole world will use it. Not whole world. Even water is not for everybody. Because poor people, they drink different water than people in our societies. Same people, different water. If you buy a mineral water, there is a basic mineral water and the premium mineral water. Yeah? Why? Because the premium mineral water is promoted by a most famous actress. They're presented in a very good bottle, glass bottle, and it looks like prestigious mineral water. So even water is not for everybody. Try to segment your clients. Segmentation is a process in which you divide your target group into smaller parts. What is the feature? What is the factor that will allow you to distinguish these smaller groups in your target group? In every single business, the factor can be different. The main point is that you should divide using these factors that in important way distinguish this group, target groups, which means this kind of client expects this and that. This kind of client expects, I don't know, better quality and they can accept higher price. And this kind of group expects that you will deliver it rapidly in one moment, yes? So try to prepare a segmentation, because thanks to that you will be able to distinguish the marketing channels, marketing content you would like to address to, and you can develop the product so that it responds directly to their need. So thanks to segmentation of clients, you are able to create better product and to promote it in a more adequate way. What else? Can you create a persona? Who is a persona? Persona is a statistically most common type of client. You can give him a name, you can try to guess where does he live, how much does he earn, what is his financial situation, does he have a family, what are their habits. Yes, try to create a vision of a person that is statistically the most common client of you. Why? Because if you have the vision of this kind of persona, then you will be able to understand the process that are happening in his mind while this person is about to buy your product. You're able to predict the sales road that your client will have to go through to buy your product. And thanks to that, you can create and design this sales road, which is also very important. While answering about the market, you should give the evaluation and the estimation of the value of the market. How you can get it? Of course, you can find a lot of data on the internet. A lot of information are presented, and you can, for instance, know how much money is worth the market of e-commerce in Poland in 2019, and how much will it be worth in 2022. Yeah, you can ask, you can get information about the estimation of the capacity of the market. How big will it be? What are the trends? Is it growing, or the market is decreasing? How many things do you have to create, do you have to organize before you will go to the market? I mean, do you have to acquire any legal permits, any concessions to join the market? For instance, if you want to sell alcohol in Poland, first of all, you need to get is the concession to sell alcohol. Is the concession the permit to legally distribute alcohol among people? This is the most important thing while entering the market. So you need to know what kind of permits are necessary before going to the market. Then you need to evaluate the size of the market, because if you will open a grocery store in the neighborhood, the range will be local. If you open some kind of restaurant, it can be regional. But if you open a mobile store or a web platform, the scale can be global, which means the evaluation of market should be presented in the global, regional, or local way. Remember one thing: if you are trying to present the market, try to limit information that you present to the market you are trying to address to, which means local, regional, and global. But if you are talking about trends, then try to determine trends on the market on the highest scale that is possible. Why? Because these trends can somehow shape the way that the market will be evolving in the future. So in this way, you need to understand both the local market and the global perspective that you will work on. One of the most important and very often omitted part of the presentation is the revenue stream and the clarification of the business model. What do I mean? Remember that it is not obvious for your audience how you would like to earn money on your business. If your business idea is simple, it means you open a shop and then you want to buy cheaper and sell in more expensive products, it's obvious. But if you create a startup, then you can earn money from different perspectives, from different revenue streams. So you need to declare and present the different ways of earning money in your startup. Remember that a good business model is based not only on one pillar, because then it is shaky, but a good business model is based on 2 or 3 pillars, 2 or 3 fundamentals on which that are the basic revenue streams in the business model. Which means you shouldn't concentrate only in one revenue stream. You should try to find more and more, at least 2 or 3, that in case that one is not working properly, then your company will be stable thanks to the source of money coming through another types of clients or another business. How you can declare, how you can create an innovative business models? First of all, you should declare, are you selling or buying, or are you delivering services, or maybe you are operating in freemium model. Freemium model means that the basic functions of this company, of this product, can be delivered without any payments. But if you would like to get more, if you would like to get premium functions, premium features, you need to pay in a monthly fee model. Difficulty with this business model is that somehow it's very difficult to balance the value that you can give for free and the value that you expect that your clients will pay for. Why? Because if you give too much for free, people will not be interested in buying a premium version. But if you give too little for free, you will not be able to create the marketing and sales funnel that is very often successfully created thanks to a freemium model. So it is very difficult to balance. Look how Spotify, look how Dropbox runs with this model. Dropbox says with 2 gigabytes per user, you can have always for free. You can have it always for free. But if you want to have 5 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes, you need to pay monthly fee at this level. Spotify, you can listen to music for free. But if you want to compose the order of songs and to search for songs, you need to pay for that. So this is how freemium models are being created. Monthly fee, the abonnement fee, is a very good way of delivering quality, but it is difficult to to present, difficult to convince users so that they are eager to pay monthly fee. What is powerful with the business model of abonnement is that some of the users will not use will not use the value that they pay for, and some of these users will overuse and they will get more than they pay for. So once again, this is tricky to balance the price and the abonnement that is delivered to your customers. Rental. For years, people drive their cars after they bought it. And now you don't have to buy a car. You can rent it for 1 day or for 10 minutes, which is very important and innovative model that you can have your car, you can have your bicycle rented, and so on and so on. Micropayments. This model is very frequent, very popular inside mobile games. You can get, of course, a game for free. You can play for free. But if you want to have a bigger knife, a bigger sword, or a more secure armor, you need to pay with micropayments 1 euro, 2 euros, 10 euros. And sometimes this model is called pay per win, which means you can play this computer game, this mobile game for free. But if you want to win against your oppositions, you have to buy a bigger gun, a better tank, or a more powerful weapon, or I don't know, maybe a bigger castle, so that you will not be invaded by your oppositions, and you will win. So this is why this model can be called pay per win. Affiliate model means that once you create some content, once you create some kind of, I don't know, maybe a portal or a blog, and you write articles, you earn every single time that thanks to your materials, thanks to your content, your partners sell products. Which means in this model you're paid for success of sales. For instance, you can write an article about the best smartphones, and inside the articles you can paste the links to the shops that offers this kind of smartphones, and after that, every single time a client reads this article and go to the website and buys the smartphone, you will be given a provision. This is affiliate models. Advertisements. This is also a very well-known model, but in this way, what is different with the previous model, you are not paid for success. You are paid for clicks, you are paid for reviews, you are not paid for conversion. So from your point of view, it can be good, but from the point of view of your customer, of your partner, the best way is, of course, a pay-per-success model. Another type of earning money is a license. Once you create something unique, an intellectual property that can be secured, that can be patented, that can be protected by the law, you can deliver the license to use of this technology to another people. And this way of earning money is very scalable, because once you create this license, you can sell it for a long time for many clients. Another things you need to concentrate on during the presentation is traction. What does it mean? Traction is the basic information about what you have achieved until that moment. Maybe you already have MVP. MVP is a minimum viable product, which is the simplest version of the product that can be sold to your customer. Maybe you have some letters of intent. Maybe you have already assigned contracts. Yes, this works as a proof of concept. Yes, proof of concept means there are clients waiting in line, so that once I open the production, once I open sales, they are eager to buy my products. This is my proof of concept. This is not only my vision, but they are waiting in a line to buy my product. A better stage of development of the product is revenue. I not only have the line of potential customers. I already sold my products to 10 of them and they paid for it. And this is a final confirmation that there is a need, that there is a client that is eager to pay for my solution. And thanks to that, potential investor will be confirmed that you are very successful. If you don't have a payment model yet, because at the very beginning, maybe you are interested only in building the capacity of clients in the freemium model, then you can present the numbers of users that downloaded your application, that joined your portal, that already signed up on the list, that are interested in having your business. Team. Once you present a team, remember to show the leader and remember to show how your experience and your skills are fulfilling themselves. You shouldn't multiply the skills and experience. You should rather build a team that have different experiences, different abilities, so that you will have a designer, you will have a programmer, and a salesman, UX, you will have a person with financial skills, and so on and so on. If you have 5 engineers and 0 salesmen, this is a mistake. If you have 5 salesmen and 0 engineers, the same thing, also a mistake. And financials. What should you present here? How much money you have already invested. Once you show that, dear investor, I'm here for your money, but believe me, I am 100% sure that this business will succeed because I have already invested all my money in this business. So I'm confirmed, I'm very into that. I believe in it, so I invested my own money. And this will as well work as a plus for you. How much money do you need? How much money will be spent on investments? How much money you would like to earn? And of course, you can try to predict the future and the future expectations of your profits. Of course, it is very difficult and probably you will be wrong, but at least you will show your potential investor the vision and the scale you are interested in. After this complex and full presentation, you will probably be asked questions. Which questions will be for sure asked? First of all, about money. How much you would like to earn? How much you have already invested? How much is the final cost of production? Money, money, money. Estimate profits. What is the margin on one product? Estimate CIC and CLV. What is that? CIC, customer acquisition cost, which means how much money you need to spend to acquire one customer. CLV, customer lifetime value, which means how much money is worth client in time. Statistically. Of course, at the very beginning, you are not able to provide the data about that. You can calculate that during the life of the company. Money. You should be able to answer these questions. But sometimes, especially during maybe not an investment committee, but rather a networking event, you can be asked these questions and maybe you are not feeling okay with answering that. You can say, okay, this is my private thing. Of course, I know and I understand that you are interested in my money, but please let me keep the answer to this question only to myself. If you are not convinced to ask this question, you don't have to do it. But don't feel, stressed and tensed by this question. No, you don't have to answer that. Of course, if you don't answer to this kind of questions during the investment committee, this is a mistake, and they have the right to ask you these questions because you are there to ask them for their money. How much you would like to earn? What is the good answer to this question? Of course, you need to make sure that the investor is not afraid that you will burn his money and put all of this to your own pocket. So the good answer is, normally expert like me on the market earns 10,000 zloty per month, but my minimum is 6,000 zloty, because below that level I would be, insecure. So I'd like to earn 6,000 zloty. Why? Because I know that we need to build the value of the company together. I'm not trying to be rich thanks to your money, using your money. I would like us to get rich together. And this is a good answer. Team. Questions about team. How have you divided responsibilities? Do you plan to work somewhere else? If you don't want to earn money from the company, do you have another work? Will you be able to balance all of these necessities? I expect from you that you will give 100% of your concentration, of your focus on our company. So don't be distracted by anybody else, but by any other job. If you want my money, you should quit your job. Unless there are some benefits. Because sometimes, if you work somewhere else, you can use distribution channels, you can use some contacts, some networking events to bring profits to the company. About the team, how have you split the shares? Is every in your team, do they possess the same amount of shares? Or maybe CEO has 50% and the rest of the team, they have the rest, and then the second half. Are you successful on the fields of startups? Have you made any failures? Failures are also very good, because thanks to failures, you have probably learned a lot of things. Product. What questions? What is unique in your product? Have you secured intellectual property? What is the stage of development? How can you compare your product to competitors? These are questions that are very often asked during presentations. And now, mistakes. What can you do wrong during this kind of presentation? First of all, overconfidence. I'm so confident that maybe not you, but there is a line of investors only waiting to invest in my business. So I am giving you a chance to invest. If you don't want it, no problem, I have another one. Of course, you have to be self-confident, but don't be too self-confident. Remember, who is sitting in front of you? Investors, rich people, people with experience. You have to respect them. Don't use professional terms, professional vocabulary. Don't think that if you use a lot of difficult words and difficult names, you will be considered as an expert in that field. All you need to do is to present your business idea in a clear way, so that everybody, even though they are not experts on your field, will understand the profits and benefits that goes with using your product. Lack of reliable customer recognition. What does it mean? If you don't understand your customer, how can you sell your products? You need to know who is your customer. You need to know that your product is not for everybody. You need to know how to narrow the target group so that your marketing advertisements are focused and are adequate to the expectations of your target group. It means you understand your clients. Another big mistake, unrealistic financial estimations. Very often there is a magic of big numbers. In Poland we have 40 million people. So every single year we sell 80 million pair of shoes, which means one pair of shoes is 100 zloty, which means 800 million, not 800, 8 billion zlotys of shoe business are here in Poland. So let me take only 1% and I will be super rich. It doesn't work like this. The magic of big numbers says that you should be aware that acquiring this 1% of the market of shoes in Poland is extremely difficult. So try to prepare a correct estimations based on statistics, based on your knowledge, and that you can defend these calculations. Lack of energy and strength. people will have to understand that you have vitality, you have power, and you are 100% into this business. So you have to be energetic, you have to be full of power. Why? Because running a business is a difficult task, is an exhausting task. And if you are exhausted, even though you are presenting this business, nobody will believe that you will bring this business to success. So, firm body position, smile, energy, strength, vitality, power. Because this is what is expected from the successful entrepreneur. You shouldn't base the success of the company only on one person. You should present a team with different different skills, different abilities, so that your company will go through, even if the CEO will have a heart attack or even something worse. During presentation, there is one very important rule about showing videos. You cannot play a video during presentation. Why? Because, first of all, technical problems. I know that it worked on your PC, it worked perfectly well while you tried it at least 10 times at home, but believe me, it will not work during presentation. Why? I don't know. But the risk that something can go wrong is quite huge, because there is no the voice, there is no music, there is no connection, there are no codecs. So it worked perfectly well at your PC. It may not work during presentation. This is one aspect. The second aspect, you've got only 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to present the best of you. So allow people to know not only the business, but also you. This is not time for commercial, this is not time for YouTube. You can play it, you can send the link to your audience after the presentation. But during the presentation, during this moment, this is your moment. So give 100% of you, not any video that probably can go wrong. And imagine how does look the typical investment committee. I attended to a lot of them. I was judging the potential of startups. I saw a lot of people that were, very into their business. They were emotional, they were feeling that this is their moment, and then with power, with energy, they entered an investment committee, and people were like snoozing, the investors. They were like, swiping the telephone, writing some things on the laptops, and then there was a startup that presented their business. He made his fantastic pitch with energy, power, and what was the response from investors? They were bored, they were tired. But look, this is only a game. Have you ever bought a car? Once you are interested in a car and you want to buy it, you are not doing like this, oh my God, fantastic car, I want to buy it, now let's negotiate the price. You don't do like this. You say, oh, there are scratches, the noise of the engine is not, it's not perfect, oh, and probably it was broken, you had a crash or something, so I can buy it, but you have to lower the price. During investment committee, this is the game. People, they pretend that they are not very interested in startups. After that, they are asking questions. They are, trying to find some, scratches on the business models, so that if once they are interested, they can negotiate the price. Very often, I attended to this kind of committees, that there was a startupper. He presented in very good way. Investors were like, fed up and tired and so on and so on. Startup went he went out from the room, conference room, and then investors, wow, it was a star, it was a genius idea, I need to invest in that. But they will not present that they are so interested during the presentation because this is one of their negotiation techniques. So don't be afraid, don't be worried once if you enter the stage and if you present your business idea, investors will not be, overwhelmed by the genius of your business idea. Even if they are, they will not show it to you. So be patient, ask all of the questions, and then proceed to the further steps. What kind of crisis situation can happen during the presentation? First of all, difficult and hard questions. Technological problem, lack of interests, and aggressive listeners. You need to deal with that, being self-confident. You need to predict these difficult questions so that even if you don't want to answer to them, you need to know how to avoid answers. You need to be, you cannot get distracted. If there is an aggressive listener, just calm him down, say, if you're not interested, I'm very sorry to hear that, but you don't have to be here. You can just walk away and don't disturb us from this presentation. Sometimes crisis situation can happen and only your reaction will say, have you managed with this situation or not? Perfect pitch is not a simple thing. Let's learn how the best startup pitchers from Silicon Valley present their business ideas.
Exactly 301 days ago, today, we started preparing for this program. So it's a 3-month acceleration process and 3 months fade out at what we call the funding stage. But we start this already a year ago. And it's all about the preparation, we always say. And it's all about processes and how you manage these processes eventually to find the best startups in the world. Well, the next team up is all about processes and organization. The first time that I talked to them was around 6-7 months ago. One of these guys was in China, the other one was in France, and the third one was in the UK. And this is the way virtual teams work these days. They don't have to be locked in a small office. They can work in virtual teams all around the world. And these guys are creating what I call a little bit of magic. These are productivity hackers, they call themselves. And they flew from China, France, and the UK to Amsterdam to spend 3 months with us, to change the world, and to make my life, I'm not very good at organizing myself, and they found a tool that I don't need to organize myself anymore. So I love them. So please, I would like to welcome on stage now, Mr. David Arnoux, the founder of To-Do. Give him a big hand.
Thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. My name is David, co-founder of To-Do, and as Patrick was saying, we are a team of productivity experts. And we are revolutionizing the way people organize themselves, share knowledge and information by reinventing online collaboration. And to help me explain why our users log into To-Do every single day, I'd like to share with you a quote by Theodor Adorno. The task of art today is to bring chaos into order. Now, although we're not great artists like Jackson Pollock, we are bringing order to the chaos of online collaboration tools. But before I explain how, I'd like to share with you a very quick story. Agriculture. It's one of the most ancient human activities. Now, the tools we used, they remain the same for hundreds of years. It took us centuries to finally combine these tools into one awesome, glorious machine, the combine harvester. It could also be used as a bicycle, but yeah. Now, although I have no idea how this machine works, I know you can control it using only a few simple handles. If we can do this for agriculture, why can't we do it for our everyday work lives? People today suffer from the complexity in the number of tools and the complexity of tools to organize their work life. Email. It's great for communication, but it's extremely messy. Inboxes can be hell. It's a horrible way of organizing your workload. Chat. We love chat. Everybody chats. But it's also extremely messy. People get left out. You lose information. And there is no way of tracking the important information that is shared. So to solve this issue, we came up with project management tools, productivity tools, shared task lists. But collaboration shouldn't be about filling out forms. Does this feel like collaboration to you? No, it's just a task list. And we're not computers that can be programmed. To-Do solves these issues. We empower teams and individuals to manage all this chaos from one single epicenter. I'm proud to introduce you to the command box. So using tags, just like Twitter or Facebook, we empower these teams and individuals to manage everything, to send and organize every email, every chat, every task, every date, every note from one single box. You'll never have to be in 5 places at the same time ever again. And to show you how it works, I'd like to give you a little example. Now, this is Ivo. He's the CTO at Spill Games. It's the world's largest casual gaming company. And he's been using To-Do with one of his teams. Now, let's say Ivo's working with his team on a new product launch. I'm going to show you how he uses the command box. Ivo needs Peter to prepare a product demo. Instead of using multiple tools, he uses only one, the command box. Now, in a single sentence, he can simultaneously send Peter a message, update the task list, add to the calendar, and tag that message so that it's saved, stored, and easy to find in the future. Now, with other tools, he would have to open multiple tools. He'd have to open his email, open his task list, open his calendar, open his notes. But he never has to work like that ever again, thanks to the command box. Every message that is sent from the command box goes into our Facebook-like feed. And this is where the communication between the team happens. Now, unlike an email inbox, for every message that Peter receives from Ivo, he knows exactly what is required from him in an instant. He knows who it's from, how important it is. He knows what to act on right away. Peter wants to involve Jane in the project. Jane, she's not using To-Do yet. And that's not a problem. By including her email address in a message, she'll receive a link. She'll be able to take part in the conversation and get logged in herself. This is how To-Do spreads from team to team and even to clients. Now, when the conversation's over, there's a little bit more magic here. On the click of a simple button, they'll all see this. It's a clean and simple overview of all of the actions that were discussed during that conversation. So we're turning conversations into actions. We're letting this team have a conversation, create actions at the same time. We're creating actionable conversations, and we're making collaboration effortless. And I want to show you something else. When the team is out of the office, To-Do is available on the iPhone, and it's the fastest collaboration tool out there. Why? Because all you need to do is type and swipe. And even that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're working on an algorithm to make the command box even simpler. We'll be able to detect natural language, understand what you're typing, so all you'll need to do is type what you're thinking, and we'll take care of the rest. This team is working with a completely new way of collaborating. With other solutions, you have to open different windows, fill out forms, open menus. But modern teams, they need a faster, simpler, more unified solution. And To-Do is unified. It's completely centralized. Everything happens from one box. And it's fast. I mean, it's super fast. But most importantly, everything is trackable so that you'll never lose a piece of information ever again. Now, Ivo loves how easy To-Do has made managing his team. And I'll tell you what, Ivo is not alone. We're targeting every single tech team at startups and corporates out there who will love the command box and who love To-Do. And in the past 3 weeks, without even having implemented our marketing strategy, we already have 1,000 people eager to start using the tool. I want to tell you about the market. We got into this because it's a huge market. The collaboration market was estimated at $42 billion in 2012. It's growing at a staggering 14% per year. There's plenty of room for us to grow. Our number one competitor, Yammer, only has 1%, actually less than 1% of that market. Oh, and Yammer users, they like us too. We're locking these users in with a freemium model so that once they start to grow, to love To-Do, they'll pass it on to their friends, to their colleagues, and to other teams. So you might be thinking, why are we the perfect team to reinvent online collaboration? We know the competitive landscape. We've tried every single solution out there. Nothing works. We know how to build scalable systems. Our CTO worked for the banking industry, where he dealt with millions of transactions on a daily basis. We know how to grow a profitable business. From our previous startups, we know how to drive marketing strategies that bring in quality customers. And it doesn't hurt that the 3 first co-founders have been best friends for over 18 years. So now you know what we're building and why we're building it. And in the past 3 months, we've built the first version of the website and the first version of the iPhone app, in collaboration with hundreds of private beta testers and with a very strong lean methodology culture in our company. We're looking for 450,000 euros to go fast. We want to scale the team, further develop the product, and a big marketing push that'll bring us to our first 100,000 users within the first year. We are going to change the way people think of online collaboration. I promise you, To-Do will become the norm. We have the team, there is a pain, we have the solution, we have a beautiful product, and we have traction. So if you'd like to take part in this online revolution, if you'd like to help us in bringing order back to chaos, please come and see us after the pitches. We've got blue shoes, blue ties, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was a good time for you. And all of these situations and stories I presented to you was based on a true story and experience that I was able to gather during a lot of startup contests, demo days, and investment committees I attended to. So if you have any questions, if you would like to polish your startup pitch, you can contact me. I'm open to that. And I hope that you will be able to give the best presentation and to give your perfect pitch during the next days, during demo day, that maybe someday you will attend to. And I keep my fingers crossed that you will be able to convince investors to confide in you to fulfill your dreams about bigger and bigger company. Thank you very much. This was Michał Misztal, CEO of Startup Academy. Goodbye.